What's going on, guys? I'm Journey, back with a thoughts video, this time with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Redone in the modern age, baby. That's what this is. A retelling of Cloud's, Tifa, Barrett, Sephiroth's, and all the team that you know and love. Just bringing it back to you. This game is really good. It is really, really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I won't front. I've enjoyed this more so than I've enjoyed a lot of other games that came out in recent memory. So, like, what is it? What makes this one special? That's the thing. Is it special because of what the original game was at the time? Remember, there was nothing quite like it. Is it special because people still remember the characters, the music, how bad Sephiroth is? Still, to me, the best villain of all of Final Fantasy. There's a bunch of different things, right? Why would you need this? Well, I think one of the biggest things to me is allowing new people to see what this game is and allowing the hardcore dedicated fan base to see their characters in a whole new way. It's kind of like it's like a dream for the most part. Like, you never thought the video games could look this good. If you was back in the days of, like, let's say the old original Nintendo, PlayStation 1, Sega Genesis, even the original Xbox, you've come a really long way. So it's really nice to see some classes being bumped up to this type of age for new and old people to see, right? The story is what it is. Kept it true to the original. And it looks like there's room for a lot of improvement to either change some things and keep it, like, entirely fresh. This would be a game of 3 chapters, and they said each chapter is going to be like a full-blown game. So how that reflects on pricing is obviously remain to be seen. With now we have $10 increases on video games, so it goes from $59.99 to $69.99. At least when this one came out, it was still $59.99. But I wouldn't be surprised that chapter 2, chapter 3 would probably be $70. I wouldn't be surprised. So there's that too, and the music is what it is. It's Final Fantasy. It's still wonderful. My biggest gripe that I can have with something like this is the modernization of the combat system. You're constantly getting staggered for every hit that you take, and it's even more paramount than when you have enemies with weapons, not necessarily just swords, because they'll stagger you regardless, but pistols as well. And especially if it's like a little small machine gun, that first hit will stagger you and you're stun lock. And it kind of sucks. It really do sucks, because I thought we were really past all that. Like, that's not difficulty. It's just cheap. And when you're swinging at characters and they're just sitting there and they're standing there, like, AI is just literally standing there, and it's like they can't process data quick enough, so they're just standing there. And you're swinging. You don't see them, like, with any kind of reaction towards it whatsoever, only for them to turn around and just shoot you, and then you're staggered literally from whatever you're doing. It does kind of suck a lot. Also, I don't think they've done enough as far as the weight between the skill and the item. A lot of times, the item will probably only use 1 ATB charge, which they do have an ATB gauge. You have 2. You can use a skill to get you 3. But here's the problem. There's not items that at least I can recall that heal a party for small portions, medium portions, or even high portions of your HP. But there is skills that at least does that for your team. And something like Prayer, for instance, can give you a massive AoE heal. Obviously at the cost of 2 ATB charges. But if I have to sacrifice 2 ATB charges to get my team full heal, I'd rather take that all day than using an item between 3, using a ATB charge per each character, switch between them just to use like the same item where I could just get more from a skill. Like, it's just, I don't necessarily think that gives you strategy. Besides, hey, I think I benefit from using the skill. I'm not going to bother with the items because there's no point. Even more so when you play on hard mode. Hard mode effectively eliminates items. You can't use items. You can find items, but you can't use them. And you can't really gain your MP back in the same way, but skills don't really necessarily use that. They just use your ATB charge. And your ATB charge fills up pretty quickly anyway. So there can be most definitely improvements here. And real talk, like I said, I thought we were better. uh, game real talk. I'm gonna challenge developers out there. I thought we could be better. I think it's about time. You could easily make a materia and have the materia give a character like a barrier. And at least within that barrier, maybe for a set period of time or just for like a certain amount of strikes will give you that kind of window, if you would, to at least be able to retaliate, set up, or something like that. So that way you're not getting staggered immediately. Now let's say they break a barrier. Well, hey, there could be a cooldown for maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, something like that. At least it would add more strategy. And hell, you could upgrade it. You could upgrade it to give you more time, less cooldown before it reprocesses something that you don't necessarily have to proc. It could be passive. Like something like that. Give me the option, man. Because this thing is horrendous. And then not only that, when you get in this, especially something like in hard mode, and enemies start going wild because they're eating all your attacks. They just like, they superpower them jokers like Moses. They split you without even needing to touch it. It's amazing to me that there's nothing really in place to do it, and a lot of times you feel like you're just getting through on luck. Just saying. I play both modes, man. I feel like a lot of times you just get through on luck. So yeah, and there is side missions to do. There is there is the arena that you could take part in, and it's a fun time with great music, great pacing as well. I won't front, the pacing is really good, but it's beautiful, man. The graphics is beautiful from everything from character models, not even just the models, like the shirts and the accessories, the weapons on them, really, really crazy and detailed. And then the world itself is so detailed. Like some of the stuff still blows my mind that we're here in gaming at this type of time. And it's art. It's a beautiful art form. So that's where I'm at when it comes to this. Now, the biggest question, I believe, put like this: if you are someone who never played Final Fantasy before, is this for you? That depends. Back in the day, with the old school tradition ones, there were people who felt as though Final Fantasy was too slow, too boring. They don't want to watch you. They don't want to watch you put selections in, and they just want to go in and swing, swing, swing. They also like Call of Duty. Um, this game gives you a lot of action, right? So this could possibly be for that particular individual. If you are the person who more prefer the traditional, you will be disappointed. But if you look at everything else, you might be able to get past it a little bit because there is a whole lot of nonsense with a lot of effects that can blind your view from what you really need to do. It is a lot of effects. It is a lot of things, and especially gets way over the top a little bit later. So those can be things that could get people to scale back. No matter how good this game could be reviewed through many, a lot of people fell in love with the series for a reason, and if those reasons aren't present here, no matter what anybody may think, that might be the thing that tipped the scale into a, hey, I don't even want to bother with this. Now, I think you should give it a shot, give it a go, but that's just my 2 cents because I think this is really special. So, I mean, with the voice acting that's superb, and you have, a character like in Barrett who sounds as the way he looks, it's amazing to me. Growing up without that type of kind of like black character, and then you could kind of like see it here, shows how far we've come. Like, what your heroes are when you was kind of growing up today is not that day. Now we're in a different spot, and we would like to see more, but this is a wonderful start to me. This is pretty much basically, you don't want a guy in the like in the deep south sounding like he came from New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make no sense. Or matter of fact, why would a country dude sound British? You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's nice to see that. And then Google Barrett, you might just be surprised of like who's playing it. It just did a perfect job with this role. And real talk, you the people who look just like me can have a job within the game industry. That's what gives you that type of hope, because it's not always coding. Sorry to people who feel as though coding is everything. Coding is not everything. There's sound design, music compositions. There is storyboarding. There is concept art. There's a whole lot of stuff that kind of goes into it. Not even just talking about just producer roles and just everything else from marketing and stuff. You can have the most amazing game in the world, but if you ain't got nobody to market it, nobody will never know. You ain't selling nothing. So everybody has a major role in. At the end of the day, when it comes to something in a team-based environment, at the end of the day, you have to understand that there's more to this than anybody even knows. And I think this kind of gives you at least hope for a future that we continue to grow into. So that's probably my biggest highlight for me personally. It's just that Barrett feel like Barrett feel like Uncle Willie. Uncle Willie down the street at the corner store, and you know he always go down there probably for like a Snickers, maybe a Philly cheesesteak or whatever he going out to go get. You can always catch little Uncle Philly over there doing whatever he doing, talking to the boys, yada yada yada. He just seemed like a really cool brother. Man, love to y'all guys. Appreciate y'all. Until then, make sure you take care of yourself and take care of each other. Pick this game up. It's pretty cool. So yeah, have a good one, guys. That's my thoughts on FF7 Remake. Later.